Okay, so this is my motorized bike review. After 500 miles on this bike, just about, it still runs pretty good. I had the boost bottle on and the filter from the beginning. Drilled a hole in the exhaust, but really I've had no problems with it. Now I paid about $165 for this kit. Now at the time I thought that was a little pricey when I noticed I could have got them for cheaper, but now I'm glad I did, because this one's never been a problem, and has a way better clutch than that one over there too, and the kill switch actually feels like it works correctly. Yeah, just don't feel it there. Anyway, now this one, I built to sell, and it's a BOYGOFAST. Biggest mistake I ever made. Now, they sent me the wrong throttle cable. They wouldn't make it right, so I had to buy a new one. Well, as of right now, I can't even get the bike to start. I'm not really sure what's going on. It appears that it has no spark. I put a different spark plug in it, as I know the factory ones are crappy, but it still appears like I have absolutely zero spark. You know, things just are a lot more crappy on this engine. I don't even know what that carburetor is. You know, it said, my other one's an NT. It says NTTC on the side. Now this one's got some funky little deal on it right there, but I can't even get it to start. It's pretty frustrating. It's getting fuel. The magneto looks to be of the same manufacturer as mine, so I wouldn't think that that would be the problem. Not the magneto, the coil, but and I would think that the engines are all assembled in the same place. I would think they appear to be the same. They're built about the same way, so I could be wrong about that, and probably am, but I mean, even the intake on this one's different. It's cast and this one's welded, so I mean, that's a tip off that that's different. And the casting on the cylinder head, well, they're about the same, just about the same roughness of casting. But anyway, you know, and I can see by looking right at this clutch, right where that screw is, that thing's gonna break. So 500 miles on the big bike and nothing on the little one. The little one looks really good, but can't get it to start. If anyone's got any suggestions as to what typically goes wrong with them or something to that effect, that'd be helpful, but I just can't get it to start. I'm pretty good, you know. I got old vehicles all over. That's a Shelby. There's a 65 Galaxy in the garage there. So I'm pretty versed in my automotive ability, and I just can't get that sucker over there to run. So if anyone's got any suggestions, any way I can test the magneto. I did pull the spark plug out and held it onto the head and pushed the bike forward, and I didn't see any spark. And I did the same thing with this bike over here, and I definitely saw a spark. You know, I got pretty nice wire on there. I did a job for a guy, and I had some extra scraps left over, and I had one just long enough for that. So the only complaint I have after 500 miles, I'll talk about this bike now since it's way the hell better. The only complaint I have is the gaskets kind of suck. They leak a lot. There's nothing you can really do about it. You know, my exhaust gasket kind of leaks. Once I poured it out, it leaked a little less, but it still leaked nonetheless. So, the carburetor is the leakiest thing. There's a lot of leaking spots on that carburetor, but you know, they're $10 a piece, so it's not that big a deal. So I don't really care. So I've never had a problem with it running. It always starts and goes just fine. If I do have to buy another coil for this bike over here, I'll just buy a new one and take that coil and put it over here and put the new coil over here. That makes perfect sense to me. So I would say the filter is a really important mod. And I can definitely tell with the boost bottle, you know, it definitely has way more low end than I had before. You know, it doesn't do anything for the top end really. You know, it might just do a little bit, but it's not super noticeable. But what's way noticeable is the low end. The only downside, and I can't stress this enough, is it takes a little bit. You have to let the bike warm up and kind of let fuel get up into the tube. Until you do that, it'll be running really lean. So actually when you first start, it'll run pretty bad. It'll be kind of chugging along. And you don't want to, when it warms up, you want to get this all adjusted and you want to leave it. When you start it when it's cold, it's not going to run the way you want it to. But if you let it warm up, it'll you know, go back to that setting. As far as that, I mean, the engine runs great, 500 miles in. I've had absolutely no problems. It just sips gas. It's amazing. Even the chain and all that assembly has never popped off. I've never had a problem with that. Clutch, it's never worn out yet. Never had to adjust it. I've never lost the baffling out of my exhaust, but I guess I pulled that apart and welded it together after I drilled holes in it. So anyway, they're definitely worth it as long as you do not get a BOYGOFAST kit. Customer service sucks. The guy's a dick, and it's just really not worth the hassle. In the end, it'll cost you more than a nice kit. So a Skyhawk definitely isn't necessary, but this, you know, something a little nicer than that kit over there definitely is. So I guess that's it for the bikes. Oh, and the dual pull lever there, that's a must if you do a lot of riding. This winter I plan to put a shift kit on. No, maybe not this bike. I might pull it all off and put it on another bike, but should be interesting to see.